fractured clavicle and 3 ribs. So it's just basically wait and mend and don't do anything this summer.
Oh, that's tough. All right.
Yeah.
Call the meeting to order. Need approval of the minutes from May 9th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, audience of citizens. Other than Patrick and Brian, we have them. All right, 240 Kensington Road. Who wants to go? That would be the police station.
There's the main man right there.
There he is.
All right.
I'm gonna start out with him, you know?
Brian, you're up.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hey, Ryan.
Oh, another insult.
The Berlin Police Project seems to be going well. The things that we seem to be talking about the most is waterproofing and rusted steel. Other than that, the whole project is just going along like it should be.
This is like,
The 2 items for waterproof, I'll just give you an update on the waterproofing and an update on the steel. The waterproofing was performed at the range wall, and it was also the conduit that came through from the planter above. And at those 2 locations, it seems like it has successfully stopped water infiltration because it's been tested and there's been no report of anything coming down into the interior space. So that has been successful. The steel column connection that has been observed to be rusted out, we did have the structural engineer come by and look at it. Millennium Builders did take some rust off to make it more visible. So the structural engineer came back after that cleaning, and then has put together a sketch to weld on some plates and do some additional steel welding to the column to support the connection. And that sketch is out for pricing right now by Millennium to get a price on what that would cost. And the structural engineer says that this really needs to be done. It's not a nice to have. It's really something that he's recommending that the town pursue and complete at that 1 column connection. But that's the only connection that he's finding any excessive rust. He did look at the range wall, and he did look at the beam connections from the beams into the range walls, and he saw no concerns that needed any more remedial work. So he's down to that 1 location. So when we get a price for that structural repair, then we're going to put that in front of the council for your action. And then once that's completed, then we're going to go back to Savvy and Sons and get another proposal to do a similar waterproofing solution on that whole location from below. We tried to do some investigative from above. Everything seemed to show that there was no clear evidence of leaking from above. So it must be coming in from who knows where on that plaza, making its way over to the connection. So I think we're on a path that's been positive. I think your money's been well spent on taking care of the issues and then having construction proceed. So are there any questions about the procedure that we've taken on those 2 items?
I just have, when you said the waterproofing seems successful, is it preventing water from entering the structure at all, or is it still going down, just not coming out where it's causing rust?
They're not seeing any evidence of moisture inside the building.
Okay, I feel better.
Very well phrased.
And Doug knows this, but in the meeting, Adam, their project super downstairs, said that the epoxy stuff was coming out the cracks up here in the plaza. So
That's
it
good.
actually, it migrated. It's, it's supposed to, high pressure injection.
Yeah.
It actually did. It came up through, and they were actually hitting it, and Doug probably knows this, they were hitting it with water, I guess, so number 1 to activate it, number 2 to test it after.
They were very thorough for 2 days. I mean, it came out, we saw
I mean,
That's what it's supposed to
this
do.
is accurate.
Yeah.
So Brian, you're gonna go to the town council to sort of make it not a part of this project, but a sort of a separate project and get their approval to do it?
Yeah, I've talked to Doug about getting involved with another proposal to look at the plaza itself. And we're doing that kind of offline from this project.
Okay.
Yeah, the steel beam repair, that could go against this project. You know,
Yeah,
that-
yeah.
that's a
wouldn't-
change.
yeah,
Yeah,
I would agree.
And then the waterproofing injection, the same thing, it'd go against this project.
I think it's
from
all,
below,
yeah,
Yeah.
or whatever, yeah,
From below,
whatever,
right.
yeah.
All that, but
Is
anything
there-
outside in the courtyard will be a separate project.
Right.
I'm just concerned that you guys have tested and not found any leaks, but we still haven't had an inch of rain on that plaza. And anything that's migrating over hasn't been found, or potentially hasn't been found.
well, they did test it pretty well in all the areas that they had from above. They're putting a hose on it and trying to make it rain.
Okay.
Well, I guess the other thing too is, I mean, if it's that significant of rain, then it really goes back to needing to address the plaza.
Right.
That's
Get
right.
itself
Good
in.
point. That's exactly
That's right,
right.
but we're not gonna know once they button it
No,
up.
we won't,
Right.
but I mean, I think, we're doing what's, the reasonable step of inspecting it,
Right.
fixing it, testing it. I don't know that we could do, more at this stage.
Well, we're doing what needs to be done for now, and the plaza is a separate project, and it shouldn't interfere with what we're doing now. In other words, the two areas that we're doing work won't be disturbed. It'll be good. We'll be able to use them, and then they'll be able to do something with the plaza as a totally separate job. So, okay, thanks, Brian. Anything else?
Yeah, there are two change orders that I want to put in front of you for action tonight, and both of them relate to the evidence storage having to do with shelving and processing of evidence. Change order 3, and we're only up to change order 4, and change order 3 is for new shelving for the evidence storage areas. We have 2 rooms that have shelving. And originally in the plan, we were anticipating some high density shelving, some rolling files. And we had further conversations with the police department. And instead of filling one of the 2 rooms with high density shelving, they would prefer to reduce the amount of shelving and add a desk workstation in the room so they can actually have a desk so they can process the evidence. So we did review the existing evidence storage rooms. We looked at the capacity. We found that the shelving that we proposed is meeting and exceeding their need for shelving without the use of a high density storage system. So there's no longer the rolling files. The rolling files were going to be more like $30,000. This proposal for shelving, furnished and installed, would be $13,518.75. So that's 2 rooms, both the first evidence storage room, and then we have a second evidence storage room because you need to double lock certain evidence, firearms, valuables, ammunition, goes into a second area of containment. So we've met the accreditation requirements, and this shelving would help them transfer what they have now into these 2 new rooms. The shelving would be designed for these 2 rooms.
It's just an internal budget transfer more than a change order, correct?
It was a soft cost line item, but we put it into Millennium Scope because the person that we can have furnish and install the shelving is the same contractor that's installing the lockers. So they already had a contract with them.
Okay. So we're just transferring it to Millennium's contract from quote
Correct.
unquote the budget.
Right.
From the soft cost line. Yeah, and we had, I think we had $30,000 in there, and we're asking for $13,518.75. So we're coming in lower than anticipated on the shelving. I'll proceed to change order number 4 because it's related. Because of the workstation they want to put in one of these rooms, we anticipated that it was just going to be shelving. So we need to add a quad outlet and data outlets to this one room so they can make it function as a workstation. And the additional power and the additional data is $1,473.15. So as I say, both of these are related, change order 3 and change order 4. And that would just be out of a contingency Or you can take it out of the same line as the furniture because they are related.
Yeah, that's fine. I do it, keep it simple, just do it all under the same line item.
Same line item, right?
So those are the two that I have for a vote. I do not have a quote yet on the structural steel repair. But once I get that, I can present that. I think they're gonna want to have some quick turnaround on that too. So maybe if there's a not to exceed number that we can give them some authority or reach out when the time comes and see if we can get your approval offline.
Yeah, well, we can do it by email. Do you have just a ballpark estimate? Just anything in your professional opinion?
A rough order of magnitude, that's all.
Yeah.
Well, I think it should be under the waterproofing number. The waterproofing number was 35,000. I think it should be less than the waterproofing number, but I haven't seen it. So that would be my rough order of magnitude.
All right. Well, look, if they need something quick, if we don't have a meeting set up, we can do that by email. We'll get Lisa to fire everybody up and you'll get it back in a half a day.
Well, change order 1 and 2 were already processed. Change order 1 was the structural beam revision that we needed at the overhead door. Change order 2 was the waterproofing that you approved. So that's the only 2 issues that we've had so far. And change order 3 and 4 was just for the evidence storage.
Okay. Anybody else? Michael?
There is the air handler unit changeover. So Ashley sent the request in for portable cooling. I guess you and Adam met with her today. Now, during the meeting yesterday, yeah. Adam said it might only be a week or maybe two to 5 days of no cooling going into the Board of Ed space. But now it seems like it's a couple of weeks. So I was kind of surprised to see what Ashley said on that. So I don't know what changed, or did Adam talk to the mechanical guy? Or
They were trying to pin down with the mechanical contractor when the equipment's gonna arrive, when they're gonna work here. It's just tough because of the impact of the space and who's here in summer during that time. They can't really displace anybody, and temporary relocation is gonna have a cost and an impact. So what we thought of, the easiest solution, if you agree or wanna look at something else, but basically just a little trailer, portable AC unit. We would put it outside the wall, duct it into the existing ductwork. They can take that air handler offline, run the ductwork in, temporarily wire it. It would run for a week or two, and then that way, all the areas would still get conditioned, ventilation, cooling. United Rentals just sent us a quote. We reached out to Train and Daikin, so about $1,500 a week for the unit. Depending, we're waiting to hear back. It's a 7-ton unit there. They make a 5-ton roll around porta-cool, but that.
No, I'm fine with the trailer. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, it's just a DX trailer unit. So we'll get some pricing back. Now, one thing is, the town, we could pay for the rental, but then change order for Millennium to hook it up with coordinate that with the mechanical, because they're in their space. We have to.
This is a change order project. It's a project requirement.
Even if we rented it for a month with all the costs, $5,000. So it gives them a little kind of swing time, because they're content, everything's going to fall into place exactly.
Just get
4th of July.
Yeah, just get the, when you rent it for the monthly rate.
A monthly rate.
Yeah, don't do a weekly
It's
rate.
cheaper.
Yeah, get a monthly rate. And then the cost to hook it up, whatever that's probably going to be, who's going to do it? The electrical contractor on site?
Yeah, Adam was going to reach out to his mechanical electrical contractor.
That's fine.
And it
So
gives us some swings.
What'd you get for a quote? For a monthly quote?
It's about 37 for the month right now, the first one we got back.
So $4,000.
Yeah, plus the rental, the hoses, the wire,
Yeah.
pickup drop off. So it's roughly $5,000 per.
It's $5,000, and probably the electrical connection, probably another $1,500. So $7,500.
And we're waiting to hear back from Daikin. They had another 12-ton, but they didn't have the right voltage. They're checking their stock. Train, the smallest one, they have 25-ton, which is crazy. So
Yeah, no, just get the one from United.
So do they drop it off, or do we have?
No, they drop it off.
they're a vendor. They're on national contract. They're top
Yeah.
vendors.
How much lead time do they need?
It's in stock.
Oh, okay.
It gives us. They're shooting for the first week of July, but they're going to confirm that. So
Rent it for the month, and if we need another month, look at it.
just figuring 2 weeks turnaround, worst case.
Yeah.
that just bubbled up too, literally.
Yeah, like we knew it was coming, just the timing of the time of the year and then the impact of the space.
You're better off to do it now. You know why? Because if we don't do it, for whatever reason, we could have a mold problem down there.
Yeah.
Let's not even get into that. Let's just get the unit there.
They're all interior offices that fed off to a common. So it's just a tough scenario to coordinate.
Someone's gonna be cold, someone's gonna be
Someone's
hot.
gonna be hot.
Doesn't matter, as long as we get the air moving in there, that's
That's all, yeah. It'll keep it comfy. They can continue to work. We don't have to displace anybody.
Right.
Shut down. the
Just do
center
it. I mean, do we need approval right now?
office. If you
Because
want,
you're gonna run it through the contractor, right?
it would be, do you want us to rent it directly or run the rental through Millennium? Or-
I'd run it all through Millennium and just keep it simple. That way we don't have cross budget bullshit.
So you want to say up to 10,000, not to exceed for all soft costs, hook up, disconnect, rentals, equipment, all that.
What's your opinion on it? I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, you know, I hope they don't spend 10, but
Can you hear us, Ryan?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I can hear you.
well, Doug, you're so soft.
Well, yeah, but he's by the hockey puck.
Yeah, I would say up to 10 is.
We can formalize everything and send it to the commission for review before we do it. We have a little bit of time, so.
Run it through as a standard change order through the system, you know, have Brian put it together. It'll be change order 5 or 6, whatever number's next.
Yeah.
Let's just do it that way.
I only have 7,500, but we'll go up to 10. See what they do.
It didn't seem like a lot of work.
I can let Millennium know. I mean, it's gonna be an inconvenience to Board of Ed for a little bit, but July is probably a better month to try to do this than August. So,
It is what it is. It's cost of the work. We got to do it. So bite the bullet, move on. What else we got?
well, on a positive side, the air handling unit, it was not a longer lead time than it has been. They got it pretty quickly and the pad's gonna be poured and it's gonna be sitting out there pretty soon.
How long to get it hooked up though?
They're saying a couple weeks.
Okay. All right. Do we need any approvals right now in the change orders? Any preliminary approvals or anything like that, Brian?
Just 3 and 4. So we can get those processed.
And they're
right here.
They're
ready to
there,
go,
yeah. They're already formally there. So.
I think
Yeah,
we-
you should have copies of those. So if you can sign them and get those back to me, I can then get Millennium's signature. And
Well, I already,
make a motion that we approve change order number 3 for the amount of
13,000. $13,518.75.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. How about doing change order number 4 in the amount of $1,473.15?
I'll make a motion to approve change your 4.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, they're both passed. So I already signed them, so you're in good shape.
thanks. And
Okay.
then,
And then on the other one, things happen very quickly before what's the July meeting. We can email, we can send that around and email. But, you know, right now, well, you want to take a motion to approve it up to 10 pending, you know,
Yeah,
Doug's,
I'd make a motion to, do we set aside $10,000 for temporary cooling for the Board of Ed space for the month of July.
subject to review by Brian,
Yeah.
Doug, and Mike. Sounds good.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay,
And then the structural steel one,
We're gonna wait.
as soon as you get it, the pricing on that, we'll get that approved right away.
any
yeah,
questions?
if you get something early, you know, before you pull all the paperwork again, just maybe send a quick email to Mike or Doug, just to let them know, you know, a heads up what it is, and that way, if, you know, if it's, we have
I
to
would
go for the,
I would anticipate seeing a number next week because they've had it now for about a week, 10 days. So I would
Okay.
anticipate we're gonna see a number next week.
okay, good. All right, well, I have 2 invoices here that need approval then, before we let Brian go. One for Chapinski Humes for $4,270.
That's the reason I'm here.
I make a motion, we pay it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Don't go too far with it.
Now I'll leave. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Have a nice evening.
Take care.
And then while we're doing invoices, we have Millenniums, which is their regular. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
It was signed off by Brian for $270,963.75.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Board of Ed, HVAC system.
Well, I missed this week's job meeting, so I'll rely on Patrick and Doug to give you the update on what's going on.
Okay.
Patrick, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. You guys hear me all right?
Yep.
Yeah, loud and clear.
All right. So I mean, the update right now is pretty similar to last month. Allstate hasn't been on site too much. There were some deficiencies found with some of the electrical work that was done on change order for them. They were working with Doug on getting that corrected, and I believe at this point we're pretty much all set with that.
Patrick, could I ask, when you say there were some deficiencies found, who found them? The town inspector or you or?
No,
Doug?
it was actually through use of the room. They wound up in some rooms. I don't think it was all of them. Doug might be able to explain it better. But they had used circuits. There was a change order to rerun the feeds for some outlets. Instead of refeeding, they tapped into other circuits they shouldn't have. And that was causing either some breakers to trip or some circuits to get overloaded. And Russell, the PM from Allstate, was working with Doug on getting that all corrected. And I believe they're going to continue to do an overall survey of all the work that was done once they're back in the school next week.
Yeah, they fixed everything that was.
Yeah,
was an
okay.
issue.
So it's more of an accident they
Just wanted
found
how
it.
it wrapped up, that's all.
We got calls in the morning that, outlets weren't working, projectors, and our guys just looked around and found some items. And we worked with everybody, so it was fine. They took care of it.
Other than that, they do plan on mobilizing back to the site on Monday to continue the work on the chiller enclosure. The one thing we were waiting to make sure with that is there's a couple of I think it was the corner blocks were came in damaged, and we're just pending delivery on that. Otherwise, they're about 70% done with the enclosure outside, and then they'll also be working on the chain link enclosure and the new mechanical space we created in the basement for the pumps for the new chiller. The chiller is expected to ship tomorrow, so I'll touch base with Allstate, get hopefully a tracking information, a confirmation that it shipped, and an anticipated on-site date. The panel board that we're waiting for is still holding to ship on, I think it was July 8th. So everything's still holding as it has been for a couple of months at this point, and these are the last two pieces that we really need to be substantially complete. They're going to be in the building, though, in certain classrooms, doing some miscellaneous work. There's some carpentry work that needs to be done, mostly on the lower level, and then we have some balancing that will need to be done.
Yeah.
And that
And
will
then we
be.
have, sorry, I just want to remind you, I have change order number 9 also
Yeah.
on the tonight.
So change order number 9, I'll try to explain this one the best I can. We have an RPZ in the new mechanical space that doesn't have a floor drain. So the concern was if this lets go, you could potentially wind up having a lot of water going into a space that doesn't have a floor drain. So the solution that CES came up with is a shutoff valve that ties into the BMS system and to the RPZ. So basically, if it senses a flow in the outlet of the RPZ, it would shut off the water supply to the system. That way you don't have an excess amount of water going into that basement area. And that one we're looking to, that's another one that we're still going to make use of the allowance funds for.
So it's a $0.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
It's
looking at this.
$0 to the town, but it is, let me see, it's about a $7,800 value to Allstate.
With the shut off, would there be an alarm of any type anywhere?
Um,
Yeah, I'll be back to the BMS.
I mean, so
It
would,
should be.
yeah, I mean, if we're shutting something off, I mean, because we think it's water somewhere, an alarm should go off. I mean,
Yep.
just making sure it feeds back somewhere so it
So
slaps somebody in the
knows.
face,
Right.
yeah. And would anything be damaged by the water being shut off? I mean, there's no pumps or anything that would continue to run dry or something?
no, I mean, basically
I don't know what the system is. I'm just asking, so.
yeah, and it would only be a momentary shut off. It wouldn't be a permanent. It's not like it would shut down. I'd have to see how the whole change order was written for
Yeah.
this.
No, I know it's not permanent. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that, if I shut water off to a pump and, the pump runs dry, burn out the bearings and burn out whatever. I don't know if there's any pumps on there. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
just,
No, there's definitely pumps, and with it being tied into the BMS system, that you should have the capability to send an alarm and then set off a parameters for how long it was shut off, have that valve shut.
Yeah, it goes to the whole BMS system, so we'll get an alarm,
So you'll get the
audible, email, text, everything.
town
but
facility.
if there's a small leak, you won't get the alarm because it won't shut
Yeah,
it
if
off.
this is triggered, it goes to ABS too, they're 24/7 monitoring too. All the money's in the programming, not the valves.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
It doesn't go to the police though.
A $200 part, about $7 grand.
Go to the police, or they're gonna go and shoot it?
Well, I know. Well, yesterday I was in line at TD Bank to get some cash, and there were 4 cop cars and 8 cops looking at.
This is something now the
Kensington
insurance
Welding.
companies are mandating.
Yeah. it's always-
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I got a little mixed up here. That's change order 10, which is not ready to present to you yet because CS is still reviewing it. What's being presented tonight is change order 9. This is the rerouting of the piping in the enclosures on the lower level classrooms to avoid, I think this is to avoid potential freezing of the pipes.
Yeah, that was approved rework.
We talked about that last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, those are part of the 3 that were already
Right.
verbally approved. And these are just vetted out.
I make a
Again,
motion.
$0
We
change
try-
order. Yeah, I signed it.
Okay, we're all set. It's
Yeah.
just internal transfer.
Right.
So we gotta approve
Good.
it.
We're approving change order number 9, which we approved last week. It's a $0 change order, but this is
Yep.
the paperwork, signing the paperwork tonight.
Yeah. So next
Oh, we
meeting,
don't-
I should have the change order 10 for you that was talking to you about the RPZ.
Okay.
And that's pretty much the update for right now.
Okay.
What does it look like schedule wise? You want to schedule for completion when?
It's going to be cutting it right down to when the kids are back. I mean, I'll call it substantially complete. The chiller will be in. What the hang up is getting this panel and the wiring and then the startup and then all the balancing. So the bulk the work will definitely be done this summer before the teachers are even back. But we'll probably have some commissioning going on second shift while the teachers are back.
Okay.
So the unit will be running, but we'll be dialing it in basically.
Have all the lines been pressure tested to go to the chiller?
Yeah, I think we had done that before we backfilled back in the fall. I think it was.
I'll look at the test it again.
Yeah. So I want to know if they were holding pressure on them.
Yeah.
All right.
Or maybe the new alarm will tell us.
No.
Michael's very
It's
thorough.
another change order.
Okay. Anything else for Patrick?
Not for Patrick.
Thank you,
Okay.
Patrick.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have Newfield's monthly invoice, $20,388.50.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And we also have an invoice from Allstate Construction for $38,202.72.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Do I have an invoice from
I
Friday?
didn't see fire in the pile.
I don't think he's been
He hasn't been
invoicing
sending
us.
stuff in.
Well, all he's been doing is attending the job meetings remotely. There hasn't been, I don't think, any submittal reviews or whatever. So it's, and Allstate hasn't been on site, and the job meetings have gone to on a monthly basis.
Right,
Well, it was,
right.
so there was a lag. So for Fryer, I think he's just holding instead of billing $50 or whatever.
Okay.
The last invoice was like just
Yeah, it was
$200 or something.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
there's
Well,
nothing missing there
I'm
that I
just
know of.
concerned that for the,
No, I
for
got it.
Lisa and auditors in 2038, could you ever discuss the invoice for prior architecture? Because I get yelled at.
Yeah,
So
I get
I
you.
guess if we don't have an invoice, Lisa, you can take it off.
That's gonna be done by AI.
Yeah,
yeah.
pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't hold your breath.
Mr. Jackie and his
Sorry.
friend.
Yeah, I recommended we leave
No,
it.
no,
'cause
no, you didn't. Jackie, the AI person.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So now that's taking care of Willard. You know now that Griswold and Hubbard got the grants awards from the state.
Yes,
So-
I read that.
Yes.
You better spend it fast because the
So-
state's out of money.
Yeah, so Hubbard was just under 1.9 million of the grant amount, and Griswold is 1.24 million. So that money has been, I guess that grant has been awarded. The final paperwork hasn't been, I guess, executed with whatever, but I talked to Kevin today and he said, well, the bond ordinance that he has would allow us to go to bid. So then I reached out to Ashley because I was thinking about, well, what are the requirements and the conditions? So she sent me the 2 grant award letters and also the grant application sort of guidelines. My question though is, it's funded not through the typical Connecticut whatever the state education department. So even though it's running from its bond funds running through DAS, you still have to comply with whatever those requirements, because I understand they're a little onerous in the high school project. So before we go out to bid, we'd like to make sure everything's in the bid package.
And Fire was gonna reach out to CES just to make sure the plans and specs
Jive.
work with the qualifications for reimbursement.
Yeah.
But I think they would have to be re-engaged.
Well, I already have the
Their
quotes for
proposals.
those.
and
Yeah.
to kind of
So I think by the next meeting, you'd probably be prepared to go to get Fryer and CES going unless you want to do it sooner. And I'm not sure that everyone, well, I don't know.
I would not do it sooner. I wouldn't do
Okay.
it until we know what we need to do.
Right, and that's because it literally.
There's no benefit to doing it.
Well, the-
Yes.
The grants we got aren't enough to cover the cost.
We've
Yeah.
got extra money, we've got to come up
Well,
with.
we can, the PBC can spend it because Kevin has the ability to bond up to the full amount.
Correct.
You know, so, and I'm like, so we can go to bid? He goes, yeah, go to bid.
But your point's well taken. We should go to bid knowing what. the
Right,
terms and
yeah,
conditions
so
are.
I'm-
So I
I'm-
don't want to get involved in going to bid, getting something and then go, oops.
Right. I
to do
also,
this.
right, and along those lines, I'd also like Fryer and CES to know what they have to design up to for their proposals. Because I already have like 50 from, I think Fryer and 35 from CES for each school. So it's about $80,000 or $85,000 between those 2 design professionals to bring the package up. The other thing that's out there is how are you gonna do the construction? The CMA, do you want to bring Newfield on?
Yeah, I think
But and
let's-
how,
let's-
I guess.
Well, let's back up.
Yeah.
Does everyone feel confident Newfield has done a good job to this point?
I do.
I think we're all in agreement that Newfield's done a good job.
And they also did the pre-construction work on both schools too,
Right.
so they've already been in there.
And they gave us
familiar.
numbers up front for that.
Right.
If I remember
enabled
correctly,
us to
so we
get-
have the numbers. So it's not, so let's back up. So the
Yeah.
legal side of this is we'd be afraid of awarding a no bid contract. That's not the case.
Right.
We bid this before, we had the numbers in it, so it's real easy now just to issue the change order. for them to proceed with this work.
And we did, and I think you or one of you two gentlemen had a requirement to put that change order possibility into the RFP.
Correct.
So it's actually in there. So if someone ordered it, say, hey, we always knew these one or two, both of these schools might come online during Willard. So, but I don't know, like as far as.
So just for the audit record, when it comes up, is we did it that way because we didn't know if they'd do a good job or not.
Right.
So we bid it all originally out. We got all the numbers in.
Right.
And we were prepared to make award. We gave ourselves an option. If they hadn't done a good job, we wanted to go back out, we could always do that. That's why it was never the initial award.
Right.
And now we're in agreement that they've done a good job and we can award based on the original
Their
thought process.
performance.
And if you recall, this project was always a 3-school project from the town
Right.
council.
Correct.
Yes.
So, and the RFP actually recognized that too. So it's not like, oh, we're doing Willard and then these two schools got some money and then we're just going to add them on. This was always a three-school project.
Might want to run this by Jeff Denafrio.
Yeah. Yeah, to make sure that, yeah.
Well, also with respect to what we might need in the bid
Well,
package.
Right.
the award letter,
Get him up
Oh,
Up
on
and
the,
going.
on the school specs, you
at the
mean?
same time, yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna represent us anyway, and he's gonna,
And are we gonna do both schools same time, or are we gonna?
well, wait, that's up to,
Well, it's Newfield got capabilities.
I think we should talk to Newfield about the capability. I would submit that they told us originally that they could do both.
Yeah.
But B, I don't know that the town wants to do it. We should check with Mike.
well, it depends on the grant.
Yeah,
How
that's
the
what I
grants
mean,
are written.
how the grants are worded.
We only have so many years to get it all done.
Well,
Right.
technically speaking, it's supposed to be the end of next year.
So then we gotta get both.
But
going.
yes, so I think you have to go with both.
Yeah.
But there is language about reasonable request for an extension,
Okay.
which I didn't know that was in there. So as
That's
far as I'm
absolutely why
concerned,
we need Jeff.
waiting a year for a chiller or something like
Well,
that,
I think if we commit to the projects, both of them were ongoing,
we
and they
go.
run longer than the
We-
schedule,
right.
I think we're okay and
Yeah,
apply for the extension.
I agree 100%, yeah.
But I want to give Mike a heads up. Mayor Mike, a heads up.
Mayor Mark, you
that-
mean?
That Mayor Mark,
Whatever.
Mayor Mike, the guy from Markford, he's been dead for 20 years.
Flashback.
That, because it's gonna be a big difference in money if you do one at a time and stretch it out over a couple of years. We'll do everything all at once.
I think we need, once we're comfortable with the way the documents are put together and we feel that it meets the criteria of the grants, I think we gotta go out to bid for both right away. And then take the numbers in from there. We could present whatever the numbers come into the council and say, what do you wanna do?
Right.
I think that,
Well, plus we'll have Newfield on board.
Yeah.
To help with that.
Yep.
So.
So
more
with,
reason to keep them.
with respect to Newfield,
Unless they want to bid the job. but that's
no,
gonna
I
get
already
us
talked to
into-
Patrick. He
Yeah.
said they were comfortable
Okay.
proceeding with the same approach as Willard.
Good.
Yeah, so they just said, he said,
and if
no.
they're locked into those numbers, that's even a better home run.
Yeah.
Because inflation's kicked in, everything's gone up. If they're gonna willing to commit to those numbers, it's even more reason we hire them.
I forget what they had. I don't know if they had numbers for Willard or Griswold beyond pre-construction. But I guess basically the thing is, what's it gonna cost? So, need numbers from Newfield, needed a conversation with Jeff Denafrio about the school specs and also maybe about how Newfield can transition to the other two schools.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we get it out to bid to the subs as soon as possible, let Newfield run that program. And then we get those numbers in Newfield if they have to redo their general conditions, because there wasn't any original, that's when we do it.
Right.
And then we present it all to the town council, a nice bow on it for the cost and what we think the schedule is gonna be. They tell us yea or nay.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everyone, or?
Yeah, and I think, I mean, Doug, you might know better than me, but I think the intent from the town, from management council is to do both at the same time. Board of Ed's probably, yeah, hell yeah.
The only caveat would be if the bids come back higher than what the bond and the grant are, then that's the problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Then it'd be a referendum.
Well, I don't think it affects the grant. I think the grant's gonna stay the same. The town's just gotta get more money out.
Yeah, it would force a referendum, but if the bids come in at under 5.
But it's just a matter of offsetting half the bond for 1 year, so it's not
Well,
gonna change your bond.
that's my point though. If it might, the cost of both could exceed 5.
But they're
But if we-
treated
but if
treated
we-
as separate projects. So
That's what we have to make sure, that's why I want to get Jeff involved and treat that
and that
They are separate
as separate
projects.
projects.
That email from Kevin clarified a lot of that
Yeah.
stuff. So that's the good thing.
Because
is whether
two
it was by
projects,
design from
two
the state or-
projects concurrently.
Yeah, concurrent.
Yeah,
That's a
and,
good word.
and Kevin also said that just because he has the ability, or the town has the ability to bond up to those numbers, doesn't mean they can't find money elsewhere, because they don't, the Board of Finance hates bonding. So
Right.
they're looking not to bond up to the amount if they can find another source of funding,
Well,
or bond less and then, feed in from
They're gonna have
another.
to look hard to find another source of
They're
funding.
just gonna take it out of Tom's salary.
State
Well-
of Connecticut is always.
No, I'm
rise.
talking about within the town itself.
I know, but the
Yeah.
town not even getting any money from the state. No
Oh.
town is. It's not gonna be pretty.
Well, the COVID money got drawn.
I've been saying it for
Tried out.
years. It's coming home.
Plus they gotta send PDH a little bit more.
All right, so we got a plan on that?
I think so. One other question was, from Kevin was, and I told him he probably would be reluctant at this point, but there's contingency left on Willard. There's ARPA money, it's $270,000 of ARPA money. And they've got to use it or show they've appropriated by the end of this year. So he's looking to,
Put it in these two?
well, he was saying, he wanted, to talk about releasing it so that it could go somewhere else to be used before the end of the year, but he wouldn't have to get that answer until October. And I said, well, it's kind of early. He said, well, all you have to do is put the chiller in. I said, well, there's other things going on, and I don't know. I like to have the money in my pocket in case something pops out rather than releasing it. So
I think we could earmark that money toward Newfield.
Right. That's a good
Oh,
point.
okay.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I would do, and then
Right.
it stays in the same family.
right. Well, he was even talking about flipping to the next school or two.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's, I mean, so,
Yeah. So, all right. So I'll talk
To Newfield.
Newfield.
to Newfield for the Griswold and or Hubbard. Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
That was easy.
That's why the guy drives an
You
Navigator.
would have thought of it eventually.
Would it come there eventually? I don't think so. Yeah. So, all right. So I'll work with him on what we have to do that. If he can just do it, I'll get maybe next meeting you make a motion on something, whatever it is. So, and then there's, I think, another 140,000 left in contingency from another. It's in CNR, non-recurring. So that's safe.
Yeah.
So it won't be using all the contingency left in the
No,
project.
Willard-
You tell me you're finding money all over the place? We're saving
No,
the
no,
town
no,
money.
it was set aside,
Yeah.
it was the cushion, Tom, the financial cushion in case, leaks happen or something.
I know.
So,
Now that we know
So-
these are happening, we're not gonna do drop ceilings at Willard. We're gonna put it towards mechanical work.
yeah,
I just black out all the ceilings.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even put ceilings in anymore.
Yep, I agree.
Give it the
When you
new,
see that done,
industrial look.
Yeah, but it looks good. though.
It all
You do
depends on
right.
the lighting. That's
Yeah.
how you do the lighting.
That's right, the lighting has to be set down low, you can't even see.
yeah, but if you have a lot of cables and stuff running around, wouldn't you have to clean all that up before you paint it?
No, the paint will stick to
Really?
Yeah, the stuff they use, yeah.
I
It's
don't
like epoxy.
know.
anything. They call it DTM paint, goes direct to metal, so like all the ductwork that's galvanized.
Yeah,
sticks
well,
to
that I understand, but I'm talking about this thinner, like, phone line or
You have to-
fiber or whatever.
You usually have to paint it like when you're buying it out, you buy it for 3 comebacks.
Oh, okay.
Because you're right, it does move, but if you buy the 3 comebacks,
Yeah.
you always we do it in the casinos all the time.
Yeah.
They're all
Mike, you gotta get it.
Schools.
Schools.
Car wash.
What they're talking about is you take this whole
Practice.
ceiling down, instead of putting new ceiling up, you spray paint it black from whatever line you choose up. And
Downstairs?
no, we're talking about in the school.
Anywhere where there's.
Anywhere
Anywhere.
where there's a false ceiling and overhead cabling. Mike, you gotta get out. You gotta go down
I
to
do have
Hudson
to get
County,
out.
New Jersey,
I got to get out
and
there.
see all of the 15,000 square foot small industrial warehouses.
No, I have
where they're
seen,
being redone
but
and
usually
up
they're
front,
high
some mirror.
ceilings.
Yeah, I think something like the high school, it's a little bit more problematic.
Your eyes
But they don't
not
have to be
going
that
up
high.
Because of the,
They don't have to be that.
Oh, really?
2 feet.
but the elementary
Yeah,
school.
okay.
Hop house, maybe, hop house.
It's Don's right. It's where you set the lights.
So
No,
I
it
might
also
just-
Your
depends
eyes
how
don't
high
go
the
over
ceiling
the
is
lights.
too. I mean,
So a field trip to Hop House for me to inspect that?
I think so. It's on me.
Yeah?